Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Self-Published Success, a show that highlights forward-thinking authors who chose self-publishing over traditional and found success in doing so. My name is John Feldman, founder of Visionary Literary, and your host for today's show. Our guest today is Bonnie Mauldin. Bonnie is a top marketing consultant, a speaker, a podcast host, and the author of Harmonic Messaging, among other titles. Her motto, "From the bottom to the top," which also happens to be the title of her podcast, helps businesses succeed by using proven sales, marketing, and productivity tactics to their advantage. Today, she's here to discuss how you, the author, can succeed in marketing your book and your brand. Bonnie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We are excited to have you here. Marketing for authors is sometimes a little bit scary, a new path. Many of us don't know especially when we first get started. Everyone hopes that when you hit publish, if you build it, they will come. People just start flocking to your book, and it doesn't work that way. So marketing is very important, and we're very excited to have this conversation with you. But let's start with just piggybacking off the back of what I just said in the intro. So a lot more to your background. Tell us a little bit more about you, and then what led you to want to write your books.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always loved writing since I was 6 years old. I won an award in third grade for writing a story about all of the different types of weather, sitting at a table deciding what the weather was going to be for that day. So you had like the stormy cloud, you had the sun, you had the rain, and you had all these different types of weather, sitting at a table discussing what the weather was going to be. And that story was submitted to our local news station, and I had the photograph that I drew for the story featured on the news. They featured little kids' drawings on the news station for the weather report at that time, and they told me my story was selected, and all the family was around the television set waiting for the picture to show up, and it did, and we all screamed, and there was a big celebration. My story was chosen and featured on the news. And the next day at school, everybody said, not everybody, but my teachers were like, "I saw your picture on the news. Congratulations." And that was the best thing ever. The biggest memory that I can recall to this day.
Cool.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
The love of writing, it just was sparked from there. And I've been writing poems and short stories and doing all kinds of creative works ever since, but I never published them. I just kept them to myself, just, for fun. And I started my career in marketing after trying things out in the healthcare field, and just was super bored with that. Didn't spark my creativity, resigned and started my own gig. And this is back when Google and Facebook were brand new, and I was an early adopter, jumped on quick, and loved the idea of creating content. And I saw that the internet was the future. It was, that wasn't going anywhere. And I was like, I need to jump on this bandwagon while it's rolling, get in before everybody else does. So started the Mauldin Group as a marketing agency, helping small to mid-sized companies develop their content, like their website content, their websites, their social media, blogs, and newsletters, because I love content. I love to write. I love creativity. And, in the process of trying to promote the business, I realized that I needed to be seen as an expert, as an authority, as a go-to person in this respect. So decided to write a couple of books and give them away for free, just to show that, hey, I'm not only am I a great writer, but I'm generous. I will give the information freely so you can see my excellence. And it worked. It was great. It showed that I was, someone who was generous with the information, willing to share and teach, and was the impetus for my training services and more marketing clients coming through the door.
Excellent. Well, yeah, that is a good strategy for your business, to put everything out there and just show that it is, you are an expert. People can come to you, they can trust you. But I love the story at the beginning. Congrats. How cool of an experience that must have been to, as a third grader, right?
Mm-hmm.
To see all of that and just to be a part of it. So congrats. I'm glad that stuck with you and that sparked you. And then the creativity, like leaving your job that really didn't make you feel like you were doing something great, and just branching out into what you do now, which obviously you're helping people scale their, their brands, their businesses. So important to have that creative mindset, and just hearing, seeing the smile on your face as you told that story, and all about the creativity, is amazing. So going into, again, most authors don't realize the importance of marketing, of needing to get their, their brand out there, their title, whatever it may be. So like you said, giving away your book for free is one of your strategies. It proves your expertise. But maybe for new authors, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, why is it so important for standing out? Why is it so important to actually care about the marketing aspect?
I like what he said earlier, if you build it, they will come. That's the author's dream, that you would just hit publish and everyone would just, I envisioned the scene from A Christmas Story where he submits his paper to the teacher, and then the teacher just goes, "A plus, 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 plus." Oh, it's the greatest work ever.
Mm-hmm. That's how we all want to feel, right?
That's how we all want to feel. That's how we want our books to be
Right.
revered and treated. But unfortunately, we have to lay the groundwork and, you know, put our name out there, put our face out there, put our work out there to the people so they can actually find it and enjoy it and share it. So marketing is essential, because if you build it, they will not come.
Right.
If you build it and then promote it, then they will come.
Right.
So I'm just here to just really encourage the authors to find their tribe, create their tribe, build a community around the work that they do, or join a community around the work that they do, whether that's around the environment or politics or education or nonfiction work or fiction work. Find that group of people who are into what you're into, and then make sure you're front and center in front of that group.
That is so important. And you make it seem so simple. Like the concept is pretty simple, right? But it's something that we fail to do, because that creative side of us, many writers are introverts, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just let me write the book, and then just let people buy it. And I'll sit here and I'll keep writing, you keep buying, and everything's great. But it doesn't tend to work that way. So like you were saying, find that tribe, find that community. So from your experience, right, where can people turn? Like if it is somebody who's maybe, just for example, a first time author, they don't really have like a personal brand, they don't have a social media following, they have a small group of family and friends. Where can someone like that turn to get that initial traction and just start growing that tribe?
Yeah, great question. So the first thing you want to do is think about, what are the other books that are similar to yours, and who are the authors of those books. You need to start following them on social media, and then following the followers of those authors on social media. And hopefully they will start following you back and seeing the things that you're posting that's similar, and start enjoying and sharing your works. And you can do that on Instagram, you can do that on Facebook, on LinkedIn, you can do that on TikTok, just finding those authors or publishers that have similar works to the type of work that you want to publish or have published. That's huge. Also thinking about the movies that you enjoy watching that's similar to your book. Also the magazines that you read, the blogs that you read, even the musicians that are into the same thing that you write about. and also the conferences that your audience may want to go to, the gurus that they listen to. So just saturating yourself around that topic that you're writing about, in all areas of media, not just books, but movies, television shows, conferences, magazines, um, different pop culture celebrities who are into that, and then aligning yourself with those brands in different forms of media by following them, by joining them, by writing about them, and staying up to speed on industry news and trends that pertain to your book's subject, and writing about those things and posting about those things on social media. And so you're just creating like an ecosystem around your book where you're consistently writing and engaging in these communities that are similar. And then you will draw those same people to read your book.
Bonnie, the last 3 minutes of what you said could be captured, recorded, and then shouted out to the world, because that is like, that's exactly where people need to start. And even me, like I've been writing for 17 years now. And
Wow.
if I would have heard that when I first started, it would have saved me so much time and aggravation of trying to learn. And what do I do? What do I do? So much ad spend, ad money that I just kept pouring into my books.
Mm-hmm.
That is so important. It's you go to the source. You go. So one thing that I've started doing, and for us, like with our clients, what we start doing is go to Goodreads and see
Mm.
who has your competitors' books on their bookshelf, or they've read them, or they reviewed them. Like, because those people, it's just like you were saying, go to those communities, people that already have the desire to read your type of book, rather than trying to post a cover image on Twitter and using hashtags to get in front of just general readers. Go to those niche readers. So incredible. And like you were saying at the beginning, the tribe effect is so important. So if you reach out and if you start to like develop a relationship with these early readers, the early tribe members, it can do wonderful things. So again, those 3 minutes that you just said were so impactful. And for anybody listening, it's okay if you stopped in the middle of what I was saying to go back and listen to what Bonnie just said for those 3 minutes, because they were so important. So when it comes to that, like, that's a good way to build that tribe for authors to get out there to just get their book in front of people who don't know who they are. When it comes to authors, like anything outside of building that tribe, are there any other areas where you feel they could benefit, whether it's in the short term or the long term? Are there any other strategies for authors that you can think of?
Absolutely. Building that tribe, it takes time. Give yourself 1 to 2 years to really build a good email list for yourself. Have a website, and on that website, a subscription form to get on the wait list for your book, or to maybe receive the first chapter for free of the books that you've already written.
Yeah.
So that way they can get like a little sample appetizer. And then after they've done reading the first chapter, then they can sign up for the main course and buy the whole book. And now you have another fam in your tribe. But it starts with, giving a little away for free, and don't be opposed to that. Also, making sure you start a book club around your own book. How about that?
Yeah.
That's a huge way to get acclimated to the idea of building your own community. Even if it starts with like 5 people in your living room, it can grow from there. And you can have a virtual book club where people all over the world can enjoy. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want to feel like they're a part of something special. And who better than you than to create something like that?
Yes. Oh my God. It's great advice. And especially the part where even if it is 5 people, because that's something that a lot of authors or just businesses in general, people or brands, is like when you have a few people, you think, like I'm not reaching the masses yet. I'm not very important. But if you just focus on helping that small group of people, which, Bonnie, you as a marketing person, marketing expert, you know that the importance of serving the people that you have, and then that'll help you branch out. But such valid points. So you obviously know what you're talking about. At the end of the show, I want to, and it'll be in the show notes too, for anyone to direct to Bonnie, to any kind of help. But I want to talk more now about your book, and kind of the reasoning behind it, how it's helped you, and then the benefits of publishing on your own. So let's just start by, you have 3 books, but your newest one, Harmonic Messaging, is pretty cool. And it just came out in February. So tell us a little bit about Harmonic Messaging.
Yes, so I also love music. That's part of my creativity. I play clarinet, tenor saxophone, bass clarinet, and piano. And I love when I hear a song that has nice harmony. And I love when I used to also be in a choir when I was a kid. And when you're in a choir, you have soprano and alto and tenor, and you have all the different parts of the choir singing their separate parts, but it's all the same song. And when you're in a band, you have your strings and your percussion and brass and woodwinds, and a conductor in the front telling you how fast or slow to go, and how to play the music. And so this idea of everybody on the same page, but with different parts, I see that correlation in business and in marketing. So in marketing, you have, advertising, sales, branding, and just in the business as a whole, you have finance, human resources, customer service, customer experience, operations, all these different areas. And then you have your owner or CEO in the front conducting how all these different parts work together for one common purpose, which is to provide the service or the product. And so Harmonic Messaging was born, just a collaboration of all those life experiences with my love of music. And I have this real cool book here. This is how it looks. Woohoo!
Yes, I love the cover.
Thank you. So I get a lot of compliments on the cover. I had this super swanky photo shoot done. I had a publicist at the time that insisted that my pictures were subpar and insufficient, and said, "You have to get new pictures." I'm like, "I don't want to get new pictures." She said, "Get new pictures." I said, "Okay." I paid like $4,000 for this like humongous photo shoot, like hair, makeup, stylist, and all these different backgrounds and jewelry, and they just fixed me up, made me look like a superstar. Took a million pictures, and I had this one picture of me that looked like I was dancing and listening to music. And I was like, I'm like snapping my fingers. I'm like, that is the picture for the book, because it's all about harmonic messaging. And in this picture, I look like I'm listening to music. And so I picked that one. Then I had to pay an extra $500 just to use that photo, because apparently if you go to a photographer, they own the pictures of you, and you have to ask for permission to use your own pictures if you want to use it in a medium, in a media setting, like on a billboard, on a book, in a magazine. You have to pay extra for that. Just FYI on that. Just own your own pictures. Mental note. You have to pay and ask for permission to use your own pictures of yourself. But usually if they give you a slot of pictures, you can use it on social media, normal stuff. But if you use it on something that makes money, essentially, then you have to ask for permission from the photographer and get the rights to those pictures released. Side note. So I paid the extra money, got the picture released, got the licensing to use it. And so I had this great cover, and I went through several iterations of the cover. I started not to even put my picture on the book. I just was going to put this picture of some music notes with like a crowd of people and music notes, and trying to be all symbolic. But this particular book is kind of like my business card. I was going to use it to show a philosophy around the way I think about marketing and the way I do things. And the book came about because I was thinking about, if I were to give a TED Talk, what would the TED Talk be about? And how can I introduce a brand new concept that hasn't been heard before? And I thought about, what makes my story unique? What makes my way of doing business and doing marketing unique? And I thought about my musical background, and I thought about my business background, and I decided to combine the two. I love harmony. Okay, harmonic messaging. I do messaging. I like harmony. Harmonic messaging. That's how it all came about.
It's good. And I like the cover picture it fits well. So I'm glad you didn't just go with a simple like vector image or something, but really good side note about the ownership of the pictures. So the reason that you self-published in the first place was to retain that ownership, to be able to use anything inside the book. If you were to do a TED talk or a speech or somewhere inside of your in your company, but like that's kind of where I don't know where the boundary lies with like, do I traditionally publish or do I self-publish? Because you want to own the IP, you want to own the information inside of it. But that's a really, really good point to note, that the information with the context on the outside of the book can also be in someone else's hands. So you learned through the process. Now you know to own your rights in the future to the pictures. But for anyone who's listening and not watching, go to Amazon and look at the book cover, because it really is. It's amazing. It's fitting. It has you on the cover, and it just, with the idea behind the book fits very well. So your book, you want to use it as your business card. You thought about, if you were going to do a TED talk, this is what it would be. So having this book and two other books that you've already had out, how has authorship and publishing these books, how have they helped you and your business and your brand?
It's helped me to command a higher fee when doing speaking engagements. And it also provides another form or outlet for making money when I do speaking engagements. I can have a table in the back of the room with my books that people can buy. And it sets me apart from all of the other marketers that might be in a room. You can throw a rock and hit a marketer,
Yeah.
because barrier to entry is so low. Anybody can hang a shingle and say, I'm a marketer. But how many marketers have 3 books? Not quite as many,
Right. Right.
And the fact that I train and teach in the area of social media and copywriting and web design, I set myself above the fray there.
Yeah, but that's a good point you make. And for us as a hybrid publishing company, we're right there with you, Bonnie, because there is anybody can go on YouTube and figure out how to put a book on Amazon and then call themselves a publisher. But we like this book right behind me. Like there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more that can be done to drive success. So you could throw a rock and hit a hybrid publishing company too. So writing books definitely helps us to stand out. And just as you do, we give ours away for free. But I'm so glad to hear this has been an incredible episode. You obviously know a lot. It became clear from the first couple questions that we asked, and again going back to those 3 minutes that I want to just pull away and give to everyone that you noted. But for anyone listening who's like, well, I need to hear more of what Bonnie has to say, whether it's working with you or just following you, where can people find and work with you?
Wow, this interview went quick. I want to do more.
I know.
Can we just sit for 3 hours and just do this?
We really could. If it was marketing and marketing books, I could sit here for a long, long time.
Yes, but people can find me at bonniemauldin.com. Super simple. I don't know why on my last name people like to transpose the D and the L and say Mauldin, but that's not it. It's like going to the mall, but it's Mauldin, Bonnie. Normal spelling on Bonnie. I've seen several spellings on that, like Y at the end and just an I. No, Bonnie, Bonnie, Mauldin, Mauldin.com. Super simple.
Excellent. And so last question, now that people know about your expertise, they know where to find your books, they know where to find you. What's next for you? I know your last book was just released, so I don't know if another one is on the horizon just yet, but
well, like I said earlier in the interview, I write all the time. I have like 10 books that I'm working on all the time at once.
Wow.
But I could release them all, but I just like that wouldn't be smart. I have to
Right.
stage this out.
Right.
So, okay, harmonic messaging now, and then some of the other ones later. But okay, what was I going to say? What am I doing now? Okay, so the next big thing is television. All these streamers are dying for great content,
Yes.
and because there's competing for the subscription dollar. So I've always been a storyteller at heart. I love telling stories. I love writing. So I'm working on doing some unscripted television shows. I'm in the process of pitching a few ideas to a few streamers and big networks. And who knows, you might see one of my TV shows on your screen soon.
That is super cool. And as someone who has pitched to Netflix before with a Project Bible, I know how cool it can be to imagine seeing your work on the screen. I probably shouldn't have gone right to Netflix. I should start with some of the lower tier ones since I'm not a known screenwriter or
Hey, you
TV
never
writer. But
know.
yeah, yeah. But that's very, very interesting. I'm super excited to follow along and hear more about that. So thank you again, Bonnie. For everyone listening, Bonnie's podcast you can find from the bottom to the top, and you can find her on her website, bonniemauldin.com. I'll put all of this in the show notes, but please go follow her on her website, or I mean on her her website and podcast, because my goodness, she is a wealth of marketing knowledge. And as authors, we know that we could use as much knowledge there as we can get. So, Bonnie, thank you again.